we're live. That's wonderful. I
Hi,
just lost the
Shireen.
question.
Yes, you're live.
Hi. Yeah. Well, it happens so quickly sometimes, and sometimes it happens. It takes ages. So
That's
it's just been.
true. With my computer, you know it the best, don't you? It's like my computer has got obviously a soul of its own and a rhythm. Sometimes it really does take time. But today it goes quick.
Yes. 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 Yes.
So
So
hello, how are
yeah.
you? How are you
I'm
today?
good, thanks. As we were saying just at the start, we both have lots going on today, which is Wednesday is just somehow seems to be a very busy day today for some ungodly reason, but it is one of those days. But it's a day for magic, which I believe is our Beregini, which is
Yes,
quite
it is.
exciting.
Yeah,
Quite
magician.
exciting.
Very exciting indeed, isn't it?
Yes.
That's the one. The beginning of the
Yes.
magician with.
I'm going to let you say that aloud while I do this. I can let you do the one that's going to actually do the vibration. So say it aloud, the
Okay.
affirmation.
So she stands for magic. The affirmation, my inner powers are working within me, for me, and through me. To break with bad habits, to break with unhealthy relationships and situations.
Protect against material or spiritual addictions. Interesting.
Yeah, and I like the symbolism of it is so interesting. It's like 4 separate old
Yeah.
houses.
Yes. And that brings me to what I said in the other day, is we were talking about the 12, and I wonder if this is kind of like 3 sets of 3. There you 4, because we were talking about the perfect number being a 12,
Yeah.
or into the new age or the new being. So whether there's something about that there's something very sacred about that structure of the 4, but it's encompassed with all the 3s, 4 3s. So that's what I was thinking this morning when I woke up, as we think about things. And it seems to be quite a significant kind of number, doesn't it? The number 12, we were talking yesterday about the golden mean.
Yes, the Christ consciousness is said to have 12 of of this twin race what Christoph Laff is talking about. So his seminar is today at 9 p.m. If people are interested, they can sign up to the webinar. Yeah, very interesting. And these are always 3 Bereginis in each circle. But so far, they've always been built on these 4 elements. So far, I mean, it's going to change in the next circle. They're like all birds, but
yes,
since there are no coincidences, and Shelley, you pointed it out as well. Shelley Schoppe you're always producing such great creative Bereginis. Thank you for that. And you pointed out as well that there's no coincidence. Like we're building the foundation first. Yeah, now we're in the second circle where we can then open ourselves to the divine miracles, gifts coming our way. And yeah, so I think this is also no coincidence because this is a foundation, but it's also open. It's not like closed, like all our Bereginis, so the first circle. So it is open, but at the same time, this one I find so interesting. Like we have continued to develop our own foundation, like adding like the leadership, the divine leadership, the power, the powerful wealth, laws. So now we are now protected. Like the affirmation is like my inner powers are working within me. It's like within each foundation, for me and through me. So now we have got a strong foundation on all different realms, like the physical, the ancestral, the upper world. And that's where magic can happen.
Yes, Exactly. Exactly. So
Only when we are
yeah,
grounded can we actually materialize things, aren't we? Because otherwise it just stays dreams. So
yeah, it stays in the ether. It
yes,
stays elsewhere in
yeah.
the weird rather than in reality. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes,
And that's quite important, I think. Yeah.
yeah,
And interesting because it is got these four things, and they are, that you've got these four openings like the four winds of the world. And I think the medicine wheel has four particular aspects to it that then go into 8, isn't it? So you
yeah,
have 4 upon 4 upon 4 upon 4 in a way as you go into different worlds. So there seems to be something very significant about that aspect, about always coming from creation, from out of nothing into something, out of nothing into something, out of nothing into something, almost, or the other way around, whichever way we're looking or working with that dynamic.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Beautiful.
Exciting.
Beautiful. Yes.
So should we start
Yes. Well, why not?
opening this space for the magician? I mean, even when I mention it, I feel so powerful. I don't know if you can feel it, but and it happens to be like really dark today compared to yesterday. Like, look, here's
Yeah.
everything is dark. I've got my light on. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
even though it's the same time in the afternoon. And the magical powers also from the Nav, so from the underworld. So seems kind of fitting, the dark background. Let's do some magic. So, may all beings have happiness and the cause of happiness. May all beings remain free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all beings remain connected to sacred joy and happiness that is totally free from sorrow. May all beings come to rest in feeling of security and peace. May all beings be happy, content, and fulfilled. And so be it. And welcome the magician. Welcome, welcome.
It is. I don't know whether it's mine or whether it's yours. But something's happened to the Zoom, so I'm not.
Oh, yes, it's my Zoom.
Okay.
My Zoom has
Zoom. Okay.
thrown me out.
All right. Well, you're back in.
Yes.
You're back in, so that's good. That's a good thing. It doesn't absolutely click out, so that's not too bad then.
Should we have a look what it shows before the genius aura and afterwards?
Okay, so I'll tell you what the genius is this one. So this is the beginning, so it's more purple. So it looks like more purpley color with a blue line coming through, which is bluey greeny, well, green more there and blue there. So it looks like, well, for me, when I look at it, I'm thinking about something like, something manifested from heaven. So almost like the magician, if you look in the tarot, in the old Rider-Waite tarot, the magician's holding up his arm like this, and he's pulling down the energy to the earth. He's pulling down, he's activating and he's utilizing the energy. So I'm kind of thinking this is kind of like pulling in energy, and you've got this sort of what looks like a kind of a force, and above it there's a bit of lightness it feels like it's more like it's a spirit coming through the channel of our higher self. So that kind of thing. That's what it feels like. The blue is sitting at the level of the heart, and blue is in Kabbalah means love. So I'm guessing the blue and the red are the two colors that I associate with the heart. So they call it Givra, and one is courage, one is love. And you have to, obviously, to love, you have to have courage, because you have to surrender to some degree. And at the same time, in order to surrender, actually the easiest way is through love. So that the same product. Yeah, it's beautiful. You doesn't show well on here because that looks purple, but actually it's magenta.
Magenta.
And magenta is meant to be the energy we see indigo. Yeah, magenta. So it's, you know, the priests in this used to always use purple, but they used a type of purple that was more magenta, because magenta is, it's got a higher vibrational frequency. So yeah, so we've got magenta. So it'll be interesting to see what happens after we've done a balance, what that will mean, what that'll show. So I'm just going to go back, and I'm just going to set it to balance for the next half an hour, and then we'll have a look. So basically, it has about 4,000 things that can work through, but what you can do is you can use the affirmations. You know, sometimes you don't have to actually use the affirmations, but I'm choosing to use them because then the words have a high resonance. So the higher the resonance, obviously, the more it's going to bring other things into alignment. Yes. So for somebody that's doing magic work or any other kind of work that's going to involve spirit, you can actually do what we call a neurological way, where you actually talk a prayer into the device, and the device then harmonizes that and it gives it back to you. So it'll balance that so that you raise those frequencies. Because you know that story, you have to, in order to raise your game, you actually have to do something that's a little higher in res than you. I don't know what's happening. I don't know whether that's my you keep cutting out.
The internet connection is quite bad. It keeps breaking up, so I cannot hear you fully, unfortunately.
Right. Okay. Right. So by creating, you know, what we're doing here is we're creating a higher resonance, so that everybody that comes into the group will raise their frequency no matter what, because just the fact that they are in here. Yeah. And the same thing happens with the dice. If what it does is it calibrates, but it's already calibrating to a higher frequency, so that it feeds frequency back like a prayer, which is very, you know, when you say a prayer, you've got a very high intention. It feeds the prayer back to you in the linguistic. It converts it to a frequency, and then it resonates it, and what it does is it then goes through your whole of your body, so your whole of your body starts to resonate with that frequency. So it's another way of just adding in medicine. Oh, I wanted to ask you, how are your photon patches? Have they arrived yet?
Oh yeah, I've been using them since last Friday. I started to use them. Well, right. I certainly feel very aligned with my medicine painting of the white deer. This is exactly how it works. And yeah, I mean, maybe I can send a picture. Not everybody has seen my painting. It's like the white deer who appeared to me in a shamanic journey. He introduced himself as Belovodia. I've hanged it up already, so I cannot just go, and otherwise I would show you. But that's exactly how the photon patches work, through light energy. We focus on where, for me, like I've got some calcifications in my right breast. And when the white deer Belovodia appeared, he took it to a spiral up to source. And the photon energy works exactly like this. It's on certain acupuncture point of the body. You put those photon energy patches in there, and they go to your stem cells and opening up to light. And as we all know, all of us exist only because there is light and sun. Otherwise, nothing would grow. And that's how it works. And it's as simple as that. Yeah, just bring anything which is stuck to the source, to the light, to the resonance field. And that's how healing happens. And I'm totally with you. When we pray, we are also in this high vibration.
Yeah.
When we stitch our intentions like prayers, this also brings us into this high vibrational resonance field. And my whole embroidery is about that, because those vibrations are embroidered. So when I wear my outfit, I feel like my aura is like really strengthened. Yeah. Because I intentionally put them on. I know what kind of symbols they represent, what I'm connected with when I wear them. And that's how it works. Like, at least I really feel it. And this is a scientific proof that that's how it works. That's how reality works.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's exciting.
So interesting. I didn't draw the magician, which is interesting, but I drew the second card to that. I drew the high priestess.
High priestess?
Yeah. Well, it's the alchemy of the high priestess, but it's called the fountain knight here. But it's the high priestess.
The fountain knight. What has he got in the middle there? Or is that an empty space? Or today my connection is not very good, my internet connection, so I can't really
I can leave it there. So basically so basically he's standing on two pedestals, and one looks golden and one looks dark. And there is a field behind him, and then he's looking up and he's got a sword. We know swords are about air and thought. And we've got the tape or the red banner with gold lettering on it. So there's a lot of imaging about this gold, which is about, we know pure alchemy gold is the most pure of metals, and it's the one that's absolutely large in it. And that's why gold is used a lot in medicine, actually, in a lot of things, because of its high frequency. And and the swords are all about thought, bringing conscious thought. Now he's standing in the middle, he's standing over both of them, which is, if you think about the brain, think about the left and right side of the brain, and there's a bridge, and he's on the bridge of that. And if you look at it again and think about it, you can think about the sweet spot of the dagaj. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. That's where my attention is going. These are the glasses. Glasses in which we can see the world. So, but I'm curious here. There's I don't know what these are actually. I'm just trying to work out what they are. But I've got a bigger picture here, which is that picture. I don't know whether we can see it better through there. Ooh, I'm just trying to work out how to move it, but I can't really see. Do you know what they are? They look like candelabras or something. I'm not quite sure what they are. But
you cannot really see it neither.
No.
And I'm curious, what has he got in the middle? He looks like.
Yes.
He looks like. And this knight looks like the devil, actually. At least from here.
No, he just looks like a. So why would you think he's a devil? No.
And to me, it looks from here like he has got in the middle like an empty space, like.
I'm not sure what you mean by an empty space.
Like a hole in the middle. That's how it looks to me from here.
All right. So he's standing, his feet apart, And then you've got the two what looks like stands. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see past him because you can see the fields behind him.
Yeah, but in the middle, it looks like he has got a hole where we can look through him. Like an empty space, a hole.
Oh, okay. Now see, I saw that as now that is true. My goodness, I haven't looked and seen that. Wow, wow. Yes, you're right. And the colors, you mean the red, gold, and white? Yes.
Yes. Uh-huh.
That is a whole. That talks about the Trinity. Yeah, three colors. Yeah, the Trinity, the white, the one part of the tree, and the other. The gold is the in between. The the meat of both.
Uh-huh.
And then you have the red, which is blood and emotion. So you've got that on all. Well done you for seeing that.
Yeah, and I see him like having horns and reminds me of the devil, like Lucifer, which of course is also misinterpreted as the really evil one, as he was like the highest angel of light. And he was brought to the world to look through illusions. So that's why he reminded me of Lucifer.
Right, that's interesting because they're actually stars.
Uh-huh. Around which
They're
I see
actually
as
stars.
horns.
When I sit with you, it's actually stars, not. Yeah, interesting. And interesting, there's one thing that was really important is that, Lucifer happened, but God created Lucifer.
Yeah, of course.
So God is all of it. So there isn't really, so there's kind of like, it's not really good or bad. There just
Exactly.
is what it is in the perception of how we're seeing it. So that's really important.
And he was created that we look through the shadows to see the light, through anything
Exactly.
what does not serve us. And there are temptations, limiting things, like we go through life, and to get to the light, which Lucifer, it means light, we have to go through a lot of dark patches and see through it, to see the light or receive the stars like he is having around his head. It's interesting.
So this one, in the sense of the high priestess guards a scroll, and it reveals her inward eye. So in this case, the scroll is about that inward eye, being able to see a bigger picture, a deeper picture. So in this one, it says, I am the fountain knight, inner alchemy of the high priestess of the silver star. I deepen your reflections into conscious making art, the alchemical essence of glory. Through me, repetition is transformed to revelation, bringing new power of awareness. I stand upon the twin alchemical waters in service to my lady, the high priestess, who presents and unites the two pillars. I'm her inner guide on the long path, uniting sun, heart, and supernal head. So uniting the head with the heart. Yeah. Together we transform desert toil to glorious vision, weaving the starlit way of the Mithric light, by which the diabolic pulling apart becomes symbolic.
There we go.
Yeah. The high priestess guards a scroll hidden in knowledge. It reveals its secret to the inward eye, unfurling upon the shield with great recipe for the alchemical art in all four worlds. So, dear alchemist, be among those who seek to create the sun and the moon. I'll help you cultivate the symbolic life, which is this new way of seeing, which can be yours. A life which can be yours. Through deep reflection, self-adjustment, you'll make one water out of the two waters, as the recipe demands, uniting my fountain silver spirit of mercury with the golden sun of sulfur. Oh, well.
Well, it describes the perfect magician to me, looking through the illusions, and to all different divisional forces and uniting, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
this is the dot of the Dagash to truly see between day and night and combine in unity and looking through those different divisions. And this is, I think, what makes us also magicians, to be able to look to the illusions and then using those divine powers which are working through us, becoming the magicians of our own lives. Like that. Thank you.
Oh dear, it's going again. I think it's the weather. It must be the weather.
Well, we're magically still gonna weave through that.
We are indeed.
Oh,
so you've got to put, yes. Oh, the curse.
The curse.
Oh, that's interesting.
You have to think about this diabolic looking to the illusions. What might appear as a curse if we actually learn to look with the transformational eyes of Dagash, or the magician eyes, and the curse, there is always a blessing.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's so much symbolism in it again. It's like all those different symbols of hearts and spirals.
Yeah.
The moon and the sun. And this mysterious looking woman where you can only see the eyes.
You've got what looks like a ring down at the bottom. Is it a hand or a ring? If you look just above the curse, the E, there looks like a.
I don't know. Do you see?
Yeah, I'm just seeing. Maybe I'm just. You know how we can see all sorts of things.
I certainly can see like it's a hand put on her mouth.
Yeah, definitely.
That's very prominent.
Yeah. Feels like it.
The curse. So what comes to me is like sometimes we feel we are being like shut down or literally cursed, like something really horrible happens for us. But when we start to look, I think, like magicians at life, and I like to use the Dagash transformation eyes to see through the illusions, then each curse usually has got some medicine for us.
Yeah.
Which are not always apparent straight away. I mean,
well, it takes a while. I mean, often people remission their life the moment they've had a really bad illness, don't they? Because they find the purpose of their life. They find out what's important about their life, so they remission. So the curse helps them to live better, or to find a new way to live.
Well, I certainly use these qualifications which have been discovered in my breast as a new way of healing path, and that brought me the white Bilovodia, a new connection with those holy lands, which is said to be like this white land of the soul, or Shambhala. I looked at the mandala of Shambhala, which I like to paint. I would like to connect now to the star seeds, the Pleiadians more, and this opened up a totally new insights to me.
Yeah.
This kind of revelation, which would have not happened without it. So I could see and interpret it in a way that's a curse, but also a blessing in disguise. So, and today's rune, a little rune of Wunjo. The Wunjo is a rune of happiness.
Oh, nice.
Pure happiness, and it stands from the last words of the ascended ones. I'm just going to show the cycle. Not shown it before because I always work with this rune cycle. So there's the Wunjo. It's actually the last rune from the ascended ones. And the ascended ones are like Jesus Christ, Buddha, the famous elves. Those are like creatures who have been through the whole human experience of life. Yeah. And this is the last world before they can ascend to nirvana, or there are a lot of times they return to human earth as ascended masters to teach other humans how to go through these natural cycles. So this rune comes when we have gone through all the trials, all the experiences. Especially hard for us is this hell home, where we feel like the dark night of the soul. And then when we've been through all those trials, we become magicians and full of joy and can see the blessing even in the biggest curse, for example. So thank you for Wunjo. I love this kind of like weaving of what only appears to be a paradox.
Yeah.
You can be joyful about curses, or
we could be happy.
We can be happy when we go through these illusions, like the cards from you, and we see through the illusions, and then the joy comes from having overcome those illusions. So I've chosen again a white background today to embroider those. This time, for the first time, I will use again cross stitches because it's easier to embroider those squares.
So how are you doing it? Do you make a square, or you just do the cross stitch as you go and then come around it?
I do the outside first to have the structure, the foundation, and then the little crosses inside. That's how I do it. So today is a very busy day. You are starring in the webinar today, Women Who Crypto. Do you want to tell us about that?
All right. Yes. Well, basically, we're talking about one of the things that came up was a little while ago. I realized that, the world is changing a lot. And I had this thing that we needed to do. We were going to move more into technology. And I just had a feeling a really long time ago that this was going to happen, but I didn't invest in it. But recently last year, I started my little crypto journey. And basically it is a way of learning how to have digital assets. Really, it's a state of where we can democratize money. So in a sense, everybody gets to know exactly what goes onto the blockchain. So how cryptocurrency works is that if you can imagine that if you think about the way to think about all money that we've had has got less and less tangible. So initially, our first form of currency used to be just swapping, you bartered. And then the bartering, the people you were bartering may not have wanted your goods, but they wanted to get some, they would have been quite happy to take some money from you, so we had to learn to have an interim currency, and that's where we developed gold or shells or any of these kinds of things. And then what happened is, as money became more and more of a commodity, it's what they call a use case, more and more of a commodity, more used, more regularly. People started to like it and understand it. What happened is that we then started to get more virtual. So it became easier not to carry tons of gold. We could carry paper. So paper was then the one that we used. And then after that, what happened is we started to have checks that would represent something that was in a bank. And now we've got new money coming in, which is formed on computers. So we're giving a value to something that is on computer, but it's a digital asset. So it's not a tangible asset in the way that we know it, but it's a digital one. And most of us use digital financing because we pay by PayPal, or we pay by Visa, or we pay by many of the other things. And it's all to do with what is worth of what we think that value will be. So I got involved because I just saw that this was a way in where women could learn. One of the things that I noticed, for myself, was I noticed that a lot of women don't really like to deal with money. They like the tangibility of the money, but they don't really know how to make money, or they don't really know how to work with money. Yeah. And we have a lot of beliefs about money anyway, not helpful. And this was one way in where we could create wealth in a different way, that was more like feminine system, which is more in the way that women like to do that, which is an exchange of energy. So by having people, having communities, teaching, learning, these kinds of things are what women are really good at, of being in a collective. And so if you think about the idea of creating teams, then or people that work with you, marketing. So you can either learn how to just put money in to save, or you can actually put the money in a different way. So that's what it's all about. And for me, it's been a really interesting journey. Part of the journey was where I stuck my head in the ground and I just said, oh, I was going to put some money in, to actually realizing that I had to look and see how can I shift that, and how could I change that so that I could grow the money instead of just relying on say the stock market or the movement within the market, but that I could actually create and generate wealth. So that was part and parcel of what I had to work with. But it is a really good way in which women are able to get onto the market and be able to create their own wealth. It's the great part of it is you can be a partner, or just be a person that anything else, just save it like savings. That's what you want. You have a new sense of freedom and changing. But digital assets are staying the same. They seem to be very robust in the markets right now. So I thought that was a good way to kind of get involved with money. If we know that money doesn't have a personality, well, when I say doesn't have a personality, we can give it a personality. We can give it a wealth goddess, or the wealth goddess come and talk to us, and it has then a personality, and then we have a relationship with the money. And that's really, that's part and parcel of what the Weaving Wealth was about and is about how do we monetize
Exactly.
in many ways. Part of the thing is we're all meant to be wealthy, actually. When no one is born in this earth to be not wealthy. Yes, we came into an environment which wasn't necessarily the most helpful, maybe if we're in a difficult situation, but we were not destined to be in that position. We're in a position because mostly it's because we haven't been able to find a way to change it. So yeah, we're at a magnificent time in our lives where we can, as women, really step forward and create wealth for ourselves. And that's something that used to be in the realm of men. Now we're moving more into the space, and we're doing it in a much nicer, more communion way, I think.
Yes, that's so exciting. That was also part of the background, isn't it? Why we call this community here Weaving Wealth Women?
Yeah.
because through you, I also became aware about this whole crypto movement, and specifically with this company, Daxi,
Yeah.
where you're also going to participate today in the panel and speak about your experiences. What I like about this company is especially is because they're focusing on education.
Yeah.
Because I certainly don't come from a background of any kind of knowledge about finances at all. And especially this new field of Bitcoins and cryptocurrency is another new um, the domain, but the whole Daxi is very helpful to educate. And for me, it's just this curiosity that that's the future. The future is decentralization. We see it now really happening with the pandemic. The old financial sector is all breaking up together.
Yeah, they are.
And following this evolutionary impulse, even though I'm very insecure about all of this, and I don't know how it really works, I think I feel the pull to open myself up to it. And because this is the future, this decentralized financial market, and a great opportunity for us women for the first time away from this like patriarchal big bank companies, yeah, which all have got their stocks already in pockets of very rich men around the world.
Yeah.
The more we educate ourselves, the more we collaborate in the feminine way, the more we can create wealth for each other. That's why we call this group Living Wealth Women, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
it's opening up the space where we don't know how to get really rich, but we learn together. So I learned about cryptocurrency, I learned about different forms of wealth creation, and we support each other. That with this intention, we are creating it whilst we go along.
Yeah, we do, and that's the thing. We don't have to know what it all. We don't have to know exactly everything right at the very start. It is about learning.
Yes.
It is about learning to create, and that's a really interesting thing. Part of my past pattern was being a perfectionist and having to know everything before I do anything. But actually, this was a way where I didn't have to learn everything. I knew that if I just got started, then things will start to manifest. Because we're already doing, already right now, we're busy organizing our planners. We are organizing things that are going to be helpful in getting more wealth in different ways for ourselves. So, this is the journey. This is the journey of really learning how to develop wealth.
Yes.
And it's not to develop alone. It's not to be a loner. It's to be someone that is there, that shows the way as well as lives the way, and shows that we make mistakes and we just get on with it and work with that.
Yes. Exactly. I mean, it's similar to the process of embroidering, which also brought us together, isn't it? I remember you were at the beginning like, oh, but I cannot do this and stuff. But then you still said like, yeah, I'm gonna forget the perfectionist streak and I'm just gonna do it. And whilst we're done embroidering, yeah, things happen. We get a new sign, we get a new impulse to do this, to try out this, and we are never complete in this process. The willingness has to be there and the openness to learn. And that's for me the whole crypto part. Like, I'm learning bits here and I'm open to that, to there, and yeah. But I feel good to have followed the impulse to get on the wagon, so to say, and opening up myself with this intention. I want to create wealth. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's the key, is really understand that you've got to tell the universe, you've got to show that you've got to put enough energy space where of what it is that you want. Otherwise, how does it know to come to you?
Yeah.
You know, if you don't focus in any way, then how does it know? It can't know.
That's true.
You have to hold that intention long enough, which is often why you've got to do things time and time and time again so that the intention gets through. That, you know.
And embroidery is such a good practice for that.
Exactly.
Stitch with stitch. It's like
Stitch
with
by stitch.
every new breath, we have got the opportunity to yet learn something new, to go deeper. It's interesting that one of these foundational houses certainly seems to be the crypto. The magic of wealth creations, one of these houses is crypto. Another one for us is like the Etsy shop, because we open up an Etsy shop. So this is a very tangible thingy where we also learn, isn't it? How to set it up and how to fill it. And there I'm also open to learn.
Yes, we've been on a big growth spurt, you and I.
Yes. But it's exciting. It's like planting the seeds and then stay conscious, committed to look after them, yeah, so that they may grow eventually in their own time.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is that as we look to see, it's like a gardener, isn't it? You look to see, okay, that's not liking that light, so let's put some different light there. Let's move that plant somewhere over here so that maybe that light's better for it. Maybe maybe in this place it's not good for it.
Exactly. And sometimes it's adjusting or learning something new, trying out different things. Well, that's interesting because for me, what comes to me while I'm stitching is really like the one house is like the crypto. The second one is like the Etsy shop. The third one is like we want to produce like journals, isn't it? In connection with every Beregini, and also using the diversified sources of wealth creation, like to do the Etsy shop, but also like the Amazon self-publishing, for example. So that seems to be the third house.
So I wonder what the fourth house is going to be.
I was just asking that myself, and I immediately got the response. The fourth house is the health. Because the true wealth is health. Nothing can flourish if our inner temple, like our inner house, is not in good order. So the fourth one is like the self-care and the health.
Which in a way is a little bit like what we're doing right now. We're doing stuff that's working on getting our mind and our body and our soul in a healthy place.
Yeah.
As well as obviously the physical manifestation of health.
And I like that was actually the first pillar anyway, like we started. We started with the foundation of embroidering like the house, bringing us in our inner temple, healthy inner temple and state of mind first, before we can materialize things like money or business or crypto. And this Beregini, for example, That already takes much more longer time.
Yeah.
Like to build this whole 4 foundations with cross stitches. And it already gives me like a hint, like an inkling. It's not always easy. Some things to really build a good foundation that takes time. Yeah. I mean, I always bring up this example of my destiny towel. It took me a year to embroider that, yeah, or my shamanic dress, which is obviously still a living thing. Like I keep adding things to it. But this is, I think, a good example for life. So set the right intention, but also stay put, and some things take time. They cannot happen overnight. You know, like I could say, I would like to magically earn million tomorrow. Yeah, a nice intention, yeah.
You've got to look at how you can do that, and that's taking those first steps. Yeah.
And the first step could be like take time, like to build a foundation, like to learn things first. How do I gain it? Yeah. The mindset needs to be changed. We have to incorporate so many limiting beliefs, shadows. I mean, I'm doing that like for 5 years, but it's not a finished kind of thing, because the more deeper we go, a new layer comes up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which still wants to be incorporated. So for me, I like to see the embroidery practice as an example that is an ongoing practice where you can always go deeper.
Well, all of it is about unfolding the whole time, isn't it? Always unfolding.
It's definitely always unfolding. And for us, it's like, how do we find good discipline and the right tools on the path of this forever unfolding becoming?
Yeah.
Which serve us the best possible way. So I'm certainly looking forward to hear your webinar today. I've listened to some others already, always like the last couple of months, always once a month, isn't it? A call for women in crypto. And there are some very inspirational women. So maybe you can send the link where other people in this group.
Yeah, I'll send
if they like to join as well. Or maybe send a recording as well. Some people cannot attend live.
So tell me, you say you do this with crosses.
Yeah.
What is it about the crosses? Is that just because you're filling in the square, or is it just that it is meant to crosses?
I don't think it is meant with crosses.
Ah, right. Okay.
But it's the easiest way to fill.
Fill it. Okay.
Yeah. But crosses have got a special meaning, obviously, in embroidery. Because they actually connect below with above as well. And it's again like a Daggerschrun. Here you have got like a Daggerschrun. It's like both feet on the ground and the 2 arms up to the sky. At least that's the spiritual meaning I know about it.
It's also one of the most solid spaces, isn't it? So if you're standing with your arms outstretched and your legs, you're in that position, you're actually in one of the most stablest forms of positions.
Exactly. And how good to fill the foundational space with this.
So it's nice and strong.
I've got 2 pillars so far, and we are almost finished for
done.
today.
Yeah, it's not quite there. I did outlines of 2, and then I'm just filling them in. So what I've done is, that's interesting how we all work differently. I've done my 4 and I'm filling them in. So
you go from the outside in, and I went from the inside out.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it's so interesting how we all totally different, right? So any closing thoughts for today? That the hour really passes by so quickly.
It does. It goes so quickly. I think the thing that I mean, just the sense, I suppose, for me is I'm thinking about something that I was thinking about earlier on today, and that was really about, you know, when we look in our body and we kind of go, well, where is our connection? How do we make that connection? And I was thinking of something that I was doing with someone earlier on this, which was doing some clean language with doing questions, which was about how do we create the vortex using clean language, so that you would get the spiral effect. So I'm thinking about, so I guess I'm thinking in the sense that you doing things from the outside in, and I'm doing things from the inside out. Oh, which way are we doing it? Is it outside?
Oh, I thought it was the other way around. At least, like, at least only
You're
looking
from
at this.
Inside out, and I'm doing from the outside in.
At least, so like here now.
And it's almost like the yin and the yang. You know, the balance of the energy. So I'm thinking about how important it is to find people in your life that help create balance, and how does going in help bring you out? I know it sounds a bit, I don't know why that came up, but it's like, how does the going in bring you out? So how do you move, you know, going in actually, when you kind of look at if you look at a vortex, basically you have a funneling in and then you have a funneling out. So I'm just curious about that natural cycle of going in and out. So,
which is, of course, the Taurus. The Taurus symbol, where everything in the universe is built on the Taurus as well. This documentary Thrive comes into my mind about this. Very interesting, this Taurus principle. And just like the cross stitch, it's exactly the same. It's from above and below and meeting in the middle, or the Dagash rune.
Yeah.
In a way, this whole symbol is like this. Like and there's the cross in the middle.
Exactly.
Between the 4. There's again, like, from the inside out and from outside in as well.
Outside in. Yeah.
And I mean, the affirmation is exactly that. It's like, my inner powers are working within me, for me, and through me. It's like in this Taurus, or like in this symbol, it's like within me, through me, and for me. It's already has got this flow, like this Taurus, like we are receiving, surrendering to it. It works through us. It goes into our roots, and then it goes up again. It's like a cyclical process.
Yeah, it's going around and around and around. Yeah.
Yeah. So I suppose my final words is this cyclical process from the inside out and from the outside in.
And each way creates, we're looking for, I suppose we are looking in a way for perfection. We're looking to perfect whatever it is we're doing. Not that we're looking for for our own perfection necessarily, but we're looking for another way of being.
Looking for another way of being.
Well, I wonder what that would be like. I can assure you.
But I feel it's already all inside us, like in the now. So I'm not looking for it, I'm letting it in.
You're letting it in, yes.
Letting it in to work it through me. That is the wisdom of the magician, isn't it? We just have to surrender like yesterday and let it work through us and for us, with us. And then from this state of being, it automatically shines out. Like,
I always think about the magician as summoning. So when I think of that, so this thing about surrendering, but also about making sure you summon.
what kind of summon?
So you call on the energy, you call on it.
Mm-hmm.
So you call on the energy rather, you don't leave. The magician is not about leaving things to chance.
Mm-hmm.
He's about being an active creator, isn't he?
Well, I certainly created my foundations today.
You did.
Yeah, should we have a last glance at the genius resonance field before we close for the day?
I wonder what it will show up. I'm very curious. I'll leave a link for people to have a look at if they want to. Whoops, no. Where are we? It's just, let's see what we get. That's interesting. So, can we see it? It's quite hard to see. I'm just going to try and move it there.
I see only white.
It's very gold. It's very gold, but it's gold, but it's diffusely gold with a little bits of some purple, but very light. The overall picture is gold, and then got a ray of blue light coming this way, which is almost when you think of being scanned, you know. I don't know if you watch Star Trek.
Star Trek? No.
No.
Well, I did watch it sometimes, but yeah, a long time ago. But I know what you mean.
It's like when something's coming through and doing a scan, you know, when you do a body scan, kind of like that. So it's kind of coming in and it's just scanning, coming up, doing. So I'm guessing when I think about when we do healing, we have to do a body scan. So we go down, and we come up, and then come, and that's what that feels like. But the overall background color is kind of like a goldy color, and then it has I think I've done, and it's got different shades, but it's that faint. The overall is gold. So not as iridescent as the last one, but I think if you think about mercurial colors, we're looking at working with blends. So the magician does a lot of blending of stuff. So I'm curious about that. I'll have a think on that. I think I have taken a picture, but I'll have a look. Yeah, I have.
Well, it's 4:06, so we can leave the magic to continue.
Yes.
But haven't finished. We don't have to. It was a very magical get together. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have lots of
lovely.
fun and wunjo tonight in your webinar.
Thank you. Thank you. And you enjoy your meeting you have this afternoon.
Yes. Thank
And
you.
you're going to be doing the Christoph of Love tonight as well, aren't you?
Yeah, and he talks about cryptocurrency as well as the new age of decentralized financial system. So
yeah.
Very nice how the parallel we are weaving the same things.
Yeah, we are weaving the same thing, and I think it's just that, you know, eventually it will be currency. I do think that's going to happen, but once people are used to it.
Yes.
Anyway, enjoy, and we'll catch up tomorrow.
You too, enjoy, and see you the latest tomorrow.
And I'm looking forward to
everybody's to listen to your webinar tonight. Also the recording. Bye for now.
Bye. Take care.
You too. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everybody.